Good morning, Ms. Shaw. Can you see and hear me okay?
Good morning, Your Honor. I can see you well and hear you fine. Thank you.
Okay, give me just a moment. I'm going to move you to a breakout room.
All right,
Mr.
sure.
Mr. You and Mr. Nolan White, attorney.
Right.
You did the second as soon as you see that invitation.
Okay.
They should be there waiting for you, okay?
All right. Thank you.
Just one moment.
Sure.
All right, good morning and welcome to the 294th District Court. My name is Chris Smart. I'm going to call this morning's criminal docket. You can hear your name. Please say present here. Seth Bearden. Seth Cody Bearden. Lindy Delaney. Lonnie Roberts. Deanna Williams. Xavier Williams. He's present with the council. Thanks. Robert Wells. Lionel Perez. Okay. And we're going to call that one at 10 p.m. correct? Oh, I'm sorry, 10 a.m. correct? Don't break your neck. I'll say 10 p.m. And then Mr. Yu is also okay. All right. Do we have any counsel that is ready? State, do we have any? Which hearings today are going to be contested that we anticipate?
Your Honor, I expect none this morning to be contested. This afternoon, I'm not expecting any unless there's a last minute change of agreement.
Okay.
I can't independently confirm this, but I received word that Mr. Bearden makes up area in Smith County that he's at right now. So I don't know if he's there or.
All right, we'll sit on it and see if you hear more news.
Thank you, sir.
So all on your, on paperwork, right? Please.
That's correct, Your Honor. I was, well, actually, I was on time, but while you're late, you're on time.
True, true. No, that's fine.
I'm trying to get things together.
No problem. No rush. Ms. Blaine. Let's go. Right over here. That's the sanctions court. Blaine, this is your first time in sanctions court, right? All right, there are some concerns with the probation department. These are their notes. I'm gonna give you a chance. Let me in, okay? Indicate that you continue to reschedule appointments, you fail to show up for, they say constant excuses, you're like on probation court fees. You haven't worked, you need up here 600 hours of community service, not taking your drug offender education. Delinquents about $145 like court collections. Okay, $3,700 balance. Says you haven't paid any of that. So you're paid up on your what collection, probation. What about your community service? What's your plan on that? 'Cause that's a lot, 600 hours. And you've got quite a long to it, but you don't want to. You fall too far behind, result in an extension.
Now, or Saturday, so I can get a take off to get service started.
So what's your, you said they will allow you to take
Yeah.
half Saturday off?
They submitted. Saturday.
Okay. So where do you plan to go and do that at? Yeah, you could do first Monday, but I don't know if they let you do half days. Do they let you do half days? Or do they do full day?
Minimum of 4 hours.
Minimum 4 hours. So, but you said you take the whole Saturday, right? All right, so you could do first Monday every month, take 10 hours. All right, so I'm not sure if you're aware, the purpose of sanctions court is to try to get you back on track. Okay, the further you get off track, the more likely that training, probation training derails. So you're looking at quite a sentence, you've got a 10-year deferred with a 2 to 20 for the sentence looming, okay? So the purpose of sanctions court is I'm gonna have you come each month as a monitor, you just get you back on track. I understand some work issues. But you're gonna have to figure that out. That's just part of being on probation and having a job and having a life. It's like all the rest of this. So this is what we're gonna do. I'm gonna reset these back. Back on November 28th. And these are the things that I want you to have done. And everything is due Friday before sanctions court. So not the morning, you can't show up that morning, go pay, say I paid. They want to see the receipts, they just documentation, that stuff. You gotta schedule, okay, schedule your substance abuse evaluation. Schedule. Schedule it, you got days, work schedule, just get it scheduled. Pay $90 to probation, $35 to court collections, 10 hours a week. If you don't do those things, next sanctions report, like jail time, attack, for everyone that fell, start serving that stage. That's, if you don't want to do that, and we don't want you in our community, okay? I'm gonna write this out, I'm gonna have this, back on November 28th. If you can start getting back on track, you show me through 4 to 6 months of maintaining what you're supposed to be doing. Some of these things, we can just, well, I'll just, the other sanctions work, put you back on probation, and that'll save you a day of effort. You have to take off work to get to. So you going to work now, or you just?
Yeah.
Okay. Well, quicker you get out of sanctions court, the quicker then you'll be happy, boss. Okay.
Um,
Substance abuse.
yeah.
Best thing to do is just run over to the probation department when you're done. Ask to see your probation officer and let them give you that information. I'm sure they can give it to you, right? You can write it down, that way you're not having to try to figure that out. Sounds things, we can get copy, put over probation, how to find that substance abuse program. All right, Lindy, I've seen you when you're healthy, I've seen you when you're unhealthy, you look healthy today, you look good, so let's maintain that, let's keep that, let's get back on track, you'll be all right. Okay? Mr. Roberts. All right, Mr. Roberts, everything was straight, you paid probation, work collection, you did community service, you also worked in Heritage Park, or Intuitive, were you doing your community service 2 hours, first Monday, yes. Next department, hey, things are looking good, we're gonna do the same thing, same thing, I told, Mr. Delaney for you. Keep this up 4 to 6 months, then I'll keep you out of sanctions court, let you get back on regular probation, save you there. Okay, so we'll do the same thing next week, 65 probation. $40 for collections, 10 hours of youth service, back on November 20th. But it's out right here. I have to sign this. We can show it. Thanks, sir. You're welcome. Will, come on up. File number CR 17-266, state versus Farmer Michael Wells for status and checking on probation compliance.
That's correct, Judge. It's basically we carried it for compliance on Mr. Wells' motion to adjudicate. I provided the state with some documentation today that eradicates at least one of their concerns. We were also carrying it for compliance for community service and also payment fines and fees and court costs. Checking his balances today, he paid a significant amount. Total balances, just a little over 3,000 with the original. Almost 40,000 assessed. So he's paid quite a bit. He's paid quite a bit here since we were here last time. Community service is still lagging. Judge has been ill with colitis, so he has some doctor's appointments to tend to that so that he can get the community service tended to. And I think we should be pretty close to being right on the numbers by the time we get back here, assuming his health issues are resolved. So after speaking with the state, we'd ask that Mr. Wells being carried on compliance again until that December 12th date.
The objection from the state?
No objection, Your Honor.
All right, where it says Mr. Wells. That is for probation compliance, December 12th.
Yes.
At 9 a.m. Williams. Physical stuff that. You just come forward this way, just come forward. Thank you, sir. All right, this is call number CR 20-145, state versus Deanna Williams for arraignment. Ms. Williams has requested court appointed counsel. The court has reviewed her application paperwork, finds her indigent purposes of appointment. Court has appointed the Honorable Richard Schmidt to represent Ms. Williams. Mr. Schmidt, are you Ms. Williams ready for arraignment?
We are.
Go ahead.
Judge, first off, I would like to notify the court that Ms. Williams' first name is misspelled both in the heading and the body of the indictment. In that it has omitted one N, it should have two N's, D-E-A-N-N-A. We have no objection to the statement, motion for eliminate, correct that. In the indictment. Other than that, we're ready to proceed.
She enters a plea of not guilty.
Judge, we wait from the briefing. She understands the nature of the charge. Enter a plea not guilty, ask for pre-trial.
All right, court will find that Ms. Williams is waiting the formal reading of the indictment. She understands what she's charged with, warrants, fines that she has. Heard a plea of not guilty that will be placed into the record. Is there any motion by the state?
Yes, Your Honor. State would move to interlineate and amend indictment for spelling Ms. Williams' name.
All right, and there's no objection from the defense. All right, then the court grants the state's oral motion to amend the indictment and correct the spelling of the defendant's first name, Deanna, to D-E-A-N-N-A. Or will interlineate that court's indictment. Ms. Williams is set for pre-trial hearing for 12.
Yes, sir.
The court sets Ms. Williams for pre-trial on December 12 at 9 a.m. Ms. Williams completed her pre-trial release with court conditions. All right, so Ms. Williams, there's going to be conditions of pre-trial release, also sometimes known as conditions of bond or bail. So basically, these are going to be conditions you have to comply with. while this case is pending. Got to report any payments for this work on attorneys, drug tests, that have seen alcohol drugs, things of that nature. Violation of any of those could result in the court finding the bill to be insufficient, placing you back in jail, maybe repost them. Okay, so after you leave here today, I want you to come here and meet with the pretrial police department, these ladies, take you to the back, give you the paperwork. Okay.
progress.
Test. No one does have an sense. All right, this is cause number CR 20-70, state of Texas versus Xavier Sean Williams. Mr. Williams, if you'll raise your right hand on the place of oath. Sir, do you swear that the testimony you give for today will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God? You can lower your. All right, Mr. Williams, you appeared before the court on August 25th, 2020. You pled guilty to the Class B misdemeanor offense, possession of marijuana less than 2 ounces. The court heard the evidence, found that there was enough evidence to convict you of this offense. The defendant followed the agreement reached with the state, or deferred finding of guilt, placed you on community supervision for 18 months. It was during that period of community supervision that the state had filed its motion to adjudicate the vote on May 11th, 2021. And they alleged in this motion that you committed 8 separate violations of your community supervision. Have you had sufficient time to review this motion with your attorney, Mr. Tapon? You feel like you've had enough time to discuss with them this case, that you've had all of your legal questions answered, that you understand everything that you've read and signed today in the agreement?
Yes, sir.
Mr. Walmart, do you believe Mr. Williams to be competent? If so, that he's interviewed in this plea essentially knowing that the involuntary.
I do indeed, Your Honor, and he is.
All right, thank you, sir. All right, and Mr. Walmart, does your client waive the formal reading of the state's motion to adjudicate?
He does indeed, Your Honor. My client and I have reviewed that line of verse. He asked intelligent questions about it, seemed to understand it, and it's great.
Is it his intent to plead true to all 8 counts as alleged?
That's correct, Your Honor. He indeed is going to plead true to all the allegations as set forth in the petition.
All right, thank you. All right, Mr. Williams, I see that the agreement in your case today is that upon your plea of true to the counts of the state's motion, the state's recommending that the court adjudicate your guilt and convict you of that offense, Class B misdemeanor possession of marijuana less than 2 ounces, that your community supervision be revoked, that your punishment be assessed for that offense at 10 days confinement in the county jail, with you receiving 3 days credit towards that sentence, and you serving the remainder of your sentence on the weekends, Van Zandt County Jail on November 17th, 18th, 19th, and 20th, and then also December 1st and 2nd and 3rd. In addition, you would be ordered to pay the balance of the financial obligations previously imposed, including a $500 fine, $140 in court costs, $675 in reimbursement fees. Mr. Williams, is that you understand the agreement, what you're asking for to approve? Yes. All right, Mr. Williams, and how do you plead these counts 1 through 8 as contained in the motion? Are those counts true or not true? True. You're pleading true today because what is alleged is in fact true. You're not just telling me that so that you can get a plea agreement, correct? All right, Mr. Lawhorn, do you have any objections to the admission of the defendant's waiver of rights and plea of true evidence?
No objections.
All right, that is admitted. The court accepts the defendant's plea of true, each count as alleged. Is there anything further from the state?
No, Your Honor.
Anything further from the defense?
Nothing from the defense at this time.
All right, then based on the defendant's plea of truth, all counts alleged, the court finds all counts to be true. Court also follows the plea agreement today. Court hereby adjudicates the guilt of Mr. Xavier Tashon Williams. Court upon adjudication hereby revokes his community supervision, assesses his punishment at 10 days confinement in Van Zandt County Jail. Mr. Williams is given credit for 3 days towards his sentence. He is ordered to pay the balance of his financial obligations and will submit to the Van Zandt County Jail to serve out the remainder of the sentence as contained in Exhibit A for the remainder of 7 days. Mr. Williams, you hereby remanded to the custody of the sheriff, so we carry out the conditions of this. Once I sign here, I'm gonna have you come forward. Deputy, please. And we can get you copies of this paperwork. Mr. Williams, when you do appear at the Van Zandt County Jail, you need to bring a copy of this paperwork with you, along with a photographic ID, so that they will let you into the jail. If you just show up and say, I'm Xavier Williams, I'm supposed to be here, the judge said so. They're not gonna let you in. They're gonna want to see the paperwork, and they're gonna want to make sure that you are who you say you are. So bring a photo ID as well as a copy of this judge. Okay. Come on forward to be fingerprinted. We'll get you a copy of the paperwork.
Just to clarify, these were granted because you have this sheriff.
Correct. Thank you. And Mr. Williams, before you take your fingerprint, I want to admonish you. Okay, so I'm giving you the opportunity to serve your remainder of your jail sentence on the weekends that you picked. Okay, so I'm giving you that opportunity. If you don't do what you say you're gonna do, then the jail's gonna tell me, because I'm gonna be checking to see if you check yourself in there. If you don't, it can constitute a new offense, a new class one misdemeanor offense. You start this whole process over again, and you can be looking up to 180 days in jail. If you don't show up and do the 10 days like you say that you're going to do, then if another case is filed against you, you can rest assured that I'm not going to give you another 10-day sentence. Does that make sense? Is it clear? So go check yourself in on those dates, handle your business so that you can be done and get back to your life. Okay?
Yes, sir.
All right.
Thank you, Ron.
Have it excused.
Yes, thank you, Mr. Warren. Tomorrow, if you and Mr. Perez come on up, we'll get him set up for your certification. Morning, Victor. How are you, sir? Yeah, I don't have anything. We can set up. Morning, Victor. Can you see and hear me okay? Yes. Can you hear him at all, Victor? Excellent. Okay, before I call this case, let me swear you in, Mr. Montemayor. You'll raise your right hand and state your name and your license number for the record. All right, Mr. Montemayor, do you solemnly swear or affirm that you will make a true translation of the statements of the court, counsel, and testimony to be given by the witness in the matter now on trial to the best of your skill and judgments from you, God? Yes, sir. All right, this is cause number CR 21-389, State versus Little Perez. We are set for pre-trial today. Mr. Morrow's understanding that you're standing in for this warrant today. Is that correct? Yes, Your Honor. All right, do you have any announcements on pre-trial? What I'm looking for is, are there any issues with discovery or pre-trial issues the court should be aware of? And or any contested pre-trial motions that have been filed, in which evidentiary hearing is requested?
Not at the moment, Your Honor. I received discovery from the district attorney's office about 30 minutes ago.
Okay, and so
So I haven't had a chance to review with my client yet.
so what's the issue on that?
None that I'm aware of.
Well, no, I'm saying, why did we just now get discovery?
I received an email from counsel in my office today saying that he received an email about a week ago and it was ready for pickup this morning. So while I had a break this morning from court, I ran over and got it.
The update on the state. So what I'm concerned with is we're at pre-trial here. And so we already had an arraignment. So presumably there's been more than 60 days since this case has been indicted. We're just now talking about discovery.
Yes, Your Honor. I see that it was uploaded to the portal on October 19th. And that all the discs were copied on notification of the disc ready to get about along also on.
And from the defense side, we know when the defense requested discovery.
I don't, Your Honor.
So this is frustrating to the court because waived indictment, set it off. I set my arraignments 30 to 45 days from indictment. And then I set pretrial 30 days, 45 days from arraignment. Presumably that we have 2 months of time that state and defense can get together and discuss these issues. So it's frustrating to come to court today and the pre-trial hearing, I'm hearing, okay, discovery was only uploaded a week ago, or that we didn't request discovery, that it just seems like we've been sitting on the case for 2 months and there's no discussion. So that I'm concerned about that from both the defense side and the state's.
Yeah, I apologize to the court, Your Honor. It's something of a disadvantage. I'm not really sure why that was the case, so I can't speak knowledgeably as to why it occurred that way. I can assure the court that I have it in my possession now, and it will be our top priority to get with the district attorney's office. Proceed from here on out as expeditiously as we can.
All right, the court's gonna set this for an additional pre-trial. They will hold on December 12th or December 14th.
For December 14th, if we may, Your Honor.
All right, court sets Mr. Perez for pre-trial hearing December 14th at. Let's set it at 10 a.m. so that we can make arrangements for our
our interpreter. Right, once Mr. Perez signs the notice of appearance, see the docs. Mr. Montemore, will you ask the defendant if there's any question that he has of his counsel before? Sure. Yeah, can you ask Mr. Perez if he has any questions on the court or his attorney before we finish the hearing? All right, then we'll see Mr. Perez back on December 14th at 10 a.m. All right, thank you, Mr. Morrow. Thank you, Your Honor. By dismiss. Yes, sir. Thank you. All right, Mr. White, are you ready? Thank you, Mr. Montemore. I believe that's all we have this morning, unless you want to be a co-interpreter with Ms. Shaw and Mandarin. I don't know if Mandarin like she is. All right, thanks. All right, Michelle, let me get you set up for the interpreting channel. I'll find this thing.
Sure, thank you, Your Honor.
All right, Michelle, you'll see if you can get a line of communication with Mr. Yu before we get started. All right, thank you. All right, Michelle, I'm gonna go ahead and swear you in at this time. Michelle, if you raise your right hand, state your name and your license number for the record. Shaw, do you solemnly swear or affirm that you will make a true translation of the statements of the court, the questions of counsel, and the testimony to be given by the witness in the matter now on trial to the best of your skill and judgment, so help you God? All right, this is cause number CR 23-70, the state of Texas versus Brendan Yu. Mr. Yu, if you'll raise your right hand. Place you under oath. Sir, do you swear that the testimony you give to the court today will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth? So help you God. All right, thank you. You can lower your hand. All right, before the court proceeds with this question of Mr. Yu, Mr. White, I believe that you indicated that there are some immigration issues and concerns that you wanted to place on the record with Mr. Yu. Is that correct?
Yes, sir, that's correct.
Let's go ahead and do that at this time.
Absolutely, Your Honor. Mr. Yu, you're a lawful permanent resident, is that correct? And of course, I've known this since I began my representation of you, and we have talked about that fact at length. Earlier this week, I sent an email to you regarding my stance, in my opinion, after consulting with some of my immigration colleagues, as well as some of my other criminal defense colleagues, about your entering into this plea agreement. And you had the opportunity to review my email, and you understand my position on what possible consequences this could have regarding immigration and the steps that you need to take once you've entered your plea and you return to California. And are you satisfied that I've answered all your questions regarding your immigration issues? And are you prepared to go forward with the plea agreement that we've entered into with the state today? That's all I have, Your Honor.
Thank you, Mr. White. All right, Mr. Yu, I see that the plea agreement you're asking the court to approve today is that you would be pleading guilty to the second-degree felony offense, possession of marijuana greater than 50 pounds, less than 2,000 pounds, which carries a potential range of punishment of if you were convicted and sentenced to not less than 2 years in prison or more than 20 years in prison, and a fine not to exceed $10,000. I see the plea agreement is that you plead guilty to that crime in exchange for the state's recommendation that the court not convict you today, but rather consider the evidence and place you on deferred community supervision for a period of 10 years. Also, the court assessing a $2,000 fine plus court costs and reimbursement fees. If the court approves that plea agreement today, do you understand that you could face potential immigration consequences due to that plea agreement? All right, and Mr. Yu, have you ever been diagnosed with a type of mental condition? In this case, you are represented by your attorney, Mr. Nolan White. Are you pleased with Mr. White's representation of you? Have you had enough time to discuss your case with him and you understand all of the legal consequences regarding your plea today? And you also understand the paperwork that you've read over and signed today? all of the paperwork is in English today, Mr. Yu, and I understand that you do not speak English. But is it true that you had the assistance of a foreign language translator in understanding and having this paperwork conveyed to you? So, and I will have the record reflect that Mr. Raymond Yu had received the services of Ms. Ida Shaw, Master Court Translator in the Mandarin language with regards to the conveyance of the plea paperwork and judgment with the assistance of counsel of Mr. White. All right, Mr. Yu, understanding the plea agreement, understanding the potential range of punishment. I also have to ask you to make sure that you understand that if the court approves this agreement and you are placed on deferred community supervision, if during the period of your community supervision, which will be 10 years, if you violate any of those conditions, do you understand that the state of Texas could file a motion to adjudicate your guilt that needs to convict you? Court could conduct a hearing, receive the evidence from the state. And if the state's evidence proves to the court that you have violated any of the terms of your community supervision, the court can do a number of things, including convicting you of this offense, revoking you from probation or community supervision, and sentencing you to prison anywhere within the range of that minimum 2 years, all the way up to the maximum 20 years. You do understand that risk? Mr. White, I failed to pick up on this earlier. You said to Mr. Yu that he would be returning to California. Is that correct?
That's correct.
And have you discussed with probation the interstate compact and all of the issues surrounding that to ensure that he would be eligible for community supervision in the state of California?
Your Honor, my understanding, the last time we were set up here was we informed the court that we had entered a possible plea agreement. And we thought that we were going to be able to go through with that particular day. We provided a copy of, I had emailed Ms. Burns, let her know, he emailed her a copy of his driver's license. And in order to get that set up, my understanding was that he transferred. Now, we weren't able to go forward that day because I had started to develop real concerns regarding what had been plea agreement. And then I wanted to make sure that I talked to a number of colleagues to ensure that my understanding of the immigration issues was correct. And that way I could further advise you regarding that. So at this time, I don't believe things changed. Done what I can do, so it's trying to.
Okay, thank you, Mr. White. All right, Mr. Yu, then at this time, I'm going to ask you, how do you plead to the second degree felony offense of possession of marijuana greater than 50 pounds, but less than 2,000 pounds? Guilty or not guilty? Mr. Yu, are you pleading guilty to this offense because you are in fact guilty of committing this crime? Mr. Yu, has anyone threatened you, forced you, or pressured you to plead guilty today? Right, the court will accept the defendant's plea of guilt at this time. Mr. White, any objection to the stipulation of evidence being admitted?
No, sir, I have no objection. I will note to the court that during the course of this, my representation, Mr. Yu, along with using the Shaw here in court to clear up some issues, I've also had the opportunity to have Mr. Yu's son present who speaks English and able to translate for us. So I am satisfied that we've been able to communicate and develop a strategy about what we're going to do in this case, although I will admit that it's been rather difficult But I am satisfied that, he understands what we're doing here today, that I have done my due diligence as an attorney, do my best to, inform him of the advantages and disadvantages.
Thank you, Mr. White. I'm not sure if I asked you earlier, and I believe I know the answer, but for the record, you do believe Mr. Yu to be competent in entering into this intentionally, knowingly, voluntarily.
I do.
All right, then the court admits the stipulation of evidence, into evidence, and the court takes judicial notice of Mr. Yu's judicial confession. Is there anything further to state
No, Your Honor.
from the defense? Motion. Does Mr. Yu have any questions of Mr. White or the court, before we proceed any further? Ms. Shaw? All right, then court, upon reviewing the stipulation of evidence, finds that there is sufficient evidence to convict Mr. Yu of this offense. Court follows the plea agreement today. The court defers a finding of guilt on the second degree felony offense of possession of marijuana greater than 50 pounds, less than 2,000 pounds. The court places Mr. Yu on community supervision for a period of 10 years. Assesses a $2,000 fine, $290 court cost, $45 reimbursement fees. Mr. Yu, you are hereby remanded to the custody of the Community Supervision and Corrections Department, so they can carry out conditions. I'm gonna have you come forward to be fingerprinted with Deputy DePlease, after which time you'll meet the probation officers to give you more information. Mr. White, is there anyone here with Mr. Yu's family that help translate between him and the probation department? Don't believe so. His son is here today.
我讲的感觉是我这期间的报道呢，是在
Okay, then I've instructed Mr. Yu that he will meet with the probation department today so that they can give him all of that information. I was inquiring as to whether or not Mr. Yu had anyone available with him today that could help translate between the community supervision department and Mr. Yu, but Shaw, if you're available, I think we maybe put you till 11 o'clock, is that correct? And what we can do is, we can let Mr. Yu take the computer back with the probation department, let them explain. And it will assist Mr. Yu with that translation. They'll give them all the information about probation. Thank you, Michelle. And what I'll do is I'm going to set you back up in another breakout room, so that I can continue on in court, and then the probation officers will be back there and they'll introduce themselves. Thank you so much for helping us today. I do appreciate it.